Yeah, man. Famous cartoonist Art Balthazar, as you see. Abraham Lincoln is with me, and we are watching, and you are watching. Famous cartoonists draw at night. They draw at night, by night. We're all here together, man. Buy their comics, buy my comics, shop.
Welcome to Cartoonist by Night. I am your host, Anthony Laatsch. I am joined here with Matt Rodgers, D. Brad Gibson, and our very special guest, graphic designer and comic creator, Winston Gambro. Winston, how's it going?
Very good. Thanks for having me, Anthony.
Of course. Winston and I go way back to the Crimson Cowl Comic Club creator interview days of like a year ago or so. And we met at a Comic-Con and invited him onto the show, and he got the extension invite to hang out with Cartoonist by Night. And when you were given that invite, we asked you the topic of what we were going to be drawing and discussing. So can you let our audience know what you chose?
I said the very vague topic of current non-Big Two comics.
Excellent. And I told the guys in the chat that I love the vagueness of it, because then it's less prep work. I don't have to get real specific, and I can just kind of do whatever behind the scenes here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and check in with everybody here and ask if there's a certain thing that we are going to be working on throughout the episode. So Winston, let's start off with you. Is there anything that you're specifically going to be drawing tonight?
Yeah, how about I share my screen real quick? You can see the current monstrosity I'm on. And share.
Yep, now we're seeing it. Oh boy.
My very small. Or is the art very small?
Yeah, the art window is a little small, but I can still
people come to see me, right?
I see a disembodied head. Well, two disembodied heads, really.
Yeah, so this is going to be my new comic. The full name I'll be announcing later this week, and the heads are to keep the facial proportions correct. I sculpted some faces, and then I trace them for close-ups to keep them all looking good.
And very cool. In this episode, when it's released, editing-wise, it'll probably be out just at the end of August. So feel free. I don't know if you wanted to reveal the name, or we can just hold it off if you're not comfortable with it yet.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's called The Safe Place to Live.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that name.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, it will be about a week out till we post this. So
yeah, that's the hardest part I find. I don't come up with a title until after the story's done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a good way to do it. So then you're not locked into it.
Yeah, because I've had like one story I've been working on, and the title changes all the time. And so I thought I'm just gonna come up with a title after the story's done. But
that would be
sometimes
that'd be a good title though. Is title changes all the time.
title changes all the time. Okay, I'll write that down.
If you make every book have a different title, would that be hard to do?
As long as the numbers are in consecutive order, then I think people find it really easy.
Oh, each issue has a different title?
Well, I meant every single copy that someone gets is a different title.
So instead of a blank sketch cover, it's a blank title cover. So you just leave the top of it blank, and then you just write a new title for every one.
Mm-hmm. I did a experimental book where the villain, or it was like this entity that you couldn't see, and I represented it with whiteout. And I literally went through the panels and whited out, and that is time consuming. It was a tiny little 12-page book, and my God, it would take hours.
Oh, yeah?
Anyone at home.
Let's jump over to Matt Rodgers. What are you going to be working on today? We see some stuff happening in your screen.
I'm just kind of just doodling. I
Doodling.
don't have everything that I'm working on right now is for an upcoming anthology that I'm a part of, but it's all being drawn physically, so it'd be too cumbersome for me to work on over here.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an 8-page story about a cat that goes on an adventure, and it's part of, I don't know if you've heard of Pots and Panels. It's going to be part comic book, part cookbook. So everybody has to submit their pages and then they have to give a recipe. So
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't, but well, kind of. I'm going to do this. My wife made this macaroni and cheese that had chicken in it, and it was really good.
okay, there you go.
So you're just going to say like Totino's pizza rolls, 15 seconds, turn them, 15 seconds.
Here's a plain cheese sandwich.
D-Bread Gibson, when given this topic, what did you ended up coming up with?
Oh well, I thought about drawing other people's stuff, but I'm gonna work on stuff from my comic that has no title, and so I'm working on one character throughout the. I got some different pose ideas here.
Cool.
And so I just want to be able to draw the character. Sometimes you draw the character and can't get the face right, and then you get the perfect face. The next time you draw it, it doesn't look right. So
that's why I made that 3D model.
yeah, I need to learn how to do that. I've seen you can make a model of your character, 3D model, on Clip Studio Paint that I have, but I haven't tried it yet.
That's why I made a character with just a square head, squiggly line, so I didn't have to do anything consistent each time.
You're so much wiser than us.
Yeah, I'll teach you the ways. Oh, I forgot I did this, but I turned off my video by mistake, and look who popped up. So
Oh,
great.
Look at that. Perfect timing.
He's always watching. All right, going back to my drawing board, when given the topic of non-Big Two, and for those unfamiliar, we're talking about anything that isn't Marvel and DC Comics. And throughout the episode, I have a big stack of books as an example of things within the last 2 years that I've been reading from independent comics. And then I have a couple like honorable mentions when it comes to like the last 10 to 15 years of like my favorite stuff. And I'm going to lead it off with I would say is my favorite independent comic book. Came out in 2015, I believe. This is Giant Days. This is done by John Allison and a collection of creators. Max Sarin eventually comes onto the book. Got Lissa Tryman, Whitney Koger, and Jim Campbell. But Giant Days, I'll talk a little bit about that later. But I want to bring that up now because that is going to be my topic. I have 3 sketch cards here. I'll probably maybe only have time for 1 or 2 of them. But I have our characters from the book. We have Daisy, we have Susan in the middle, and we have Esther. So we kind of have Esther is kind of your goth lady. Susan is kind of your grunge stoner type. And then we have Daisy, who's kind of your smart and fluffy, super nice type there. So 3 different personalities here. I'll talk about that later, but I love these characters so much. I love this series, and I decided to kind of do my take on drawing them here tonight.
that's awesome. Can't wait to see them.
Yeah.
Can I see the inside of that book? A quick peek at the inside of that book,
Oh,
Anthony?
yes, you can. So we do have Max Sarin comes in later on in the series, but a lot of the style is pretty matched to what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I like it.
John Allison works with Max Sarin quite a bit on a bunch of other things too, but
Nice.
yeah. So all right, so that is the setup, and what we're going to do, we're just going to start diving in and drawing throughout the episode. We'll have Winston do a little share screen to see some progress. We'll check in on everybody else's stuff. But because I led this off with Giant Days, I will go ahead and throw it over to Winston, asking you on what your favorite or top favorites when it comes to non-Big Two comics. Let us have it.
Well, all time, I'm a huge fan of Kyle Starks. So like Rock Candy Mountain by him might be my favorite. If
So,
anyone hasn't read it, it's a hobo World War II veteran in the following World War II who is trying to find a back door to heaven while trying to outrun the devil. And it's like it sounds like it's like American folklore, but written in recent times, and it's just beautiful and very sweet while also being hilarious.
Rock Candy Mountain.
Yeah. And
Okay, I
then
wrote it down.
I've got some Kyle Stark. I have some Kyle Stark stuff sitting here to talk about. So yeah, I'm a fan of
oh,
that.
nice. Yeah, he really gets me. I love his comedy action stuff. And then I really got into comics through 100 Bullets, and it kind of sparked my high school art teacher recommended it, and he looking back, he should not have. That is not something you should recommend to a minor.
Yeah.
But hey, it worked, and now I'm here. And so I really like crime books after that. Like anything Brubaker and Phillips puts out is
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. I just finished up my omnibus stuff of Criminal, and now I want to get. There's the what's the new stuff they're putting out right now? They're putting out.
I forget the title, but yeah, it just came out because they
Yeah.
come out with a new book like every month.
Yeah.
And
The
one
name
of their
Reckless is
sons
coming out.
does the
Reckless.
covers.
Yeah, yeah, they're so good.
And they're getting ready to start filming the Criminal TV show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been seeing all the casting stuff coming out for it.
Not know that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a pretty stacked cast.
Who's in it?
The guy from Sons of Anarchy, I believe, is the lead.
Like the main guy from that?
Yeah. And I don't remember anyone else. I just remember being impressed, being like, "Oh, it's like a real movie or a real TV show."
Very cool. Let's jump over to Matt Rodgers. Independent comics. Do you have a top favorite or favorites?
I mean, when I think of independent comics, the first thing that comes to mind is Bone. And then Love and Rockets. And then I've been on a big Jim Rugg kick lately. And I picked up the trade paperback for Street Angel, The Deadliest Girl Alive, and it's amazing. And if you guys haven't read it, you should.
Yeah, the cover looks familiar.
It's done through Image, so I don't know how independent it really is, but he does some of the best 2-page spreads I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, please share if you can find them.
Man, let's see here. Gotta find one. Doodly-doo, doodly-doo.
Yeah, if it doesn't fit the description of like independent comics, it's still non-big two. So
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was pretty much going with. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. I gotta make myself bigger to give this thing the honor it deserves. Here we go. All right, so it starts off with this big 2-page spread, and you can see Street Angel's jumping off of a dumpster, and she's going down to start punching a dude. And then when you flip the page, you just get this
Oh, that's great.
2-page spread of him getting punched in the face, which is amazing.
Love
That's
that.
perfect. Like
The way
usually you
that
don't
he-
see that when someone gets punched. Usually it's the after punch.
Yeah, like the way that he does action, like the way that he illustrates this dude dodging by having just like an outline of him, and then he's like solid down below.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that he's like a professional graphic designer.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does really good stuff. And there's one page in here that I always have to show off because it's like it requires being studied, I think. He has a book, one of the Street Angels is called Street Angel Goes to Juvie. And the first half of it is the first half of the story. She's in jail, so he uses like the 9-panel grid.
Oh, that's awesome. So it kind of feels like you're trapped.
Yeah, and then she breaks out, and once she breaks out, all of the structure like just completely disappears.
Oh, fun.
So, but then the one page is this page right here because they're hiding under this car. I think it's trying to focus on me. There's no panel borders, but it's like there's the car, there they are under the car, and they're talking to each other, and then like the building line is the panel border, and it's just like I saw that page, I was like, I'm not making comics anymore. What's the point? Like, it's just perfect. And then like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're really good indie stuff.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I like comics. Usagi Yojimbo, he's awesome.
What got you into comics? Like, what was your first book that you were following?
I mean, when I was like a kid, I had like random Superman and random G.I. Joe stuff, but like my history of comic books is weird because I don't really read comic books very often.
Mhm.
So it's weird to make comic books when you don't really read them. I mean, I do read certain stuff. I go towards like creators. But I was more into comic strips when I was younger.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Me
I was like,
too.
gotta read like Get Fuzzy and Calvin and Hobbes and all that good stuff.
You're describing basically, my middle school reading behavior. And I love Get Fuzzy. I should have picked that as my topic.
And for those following at home, we had an entire episode with our friend Kevin Wolf from Happy Wolf Art when we talked newspaper comics as one of the vague topics. But so yeah, if people are into that, go back into the feed and check that out. Cool, cool. Let's jump over to D. Brad. Favorite non-Big Two comics?
Yeah, I collect Usagi Yojimbo. So just got one the other day, but I collect them more in the in the trade version, not the single issues.
You
get the big fat
boys? These
yeah,
guys here?
Yeah, the fat boys, yeah.
They're so
Nice.
good.
Yeah. And then some not so fat boys too.
I have 6 of them
Oh yeah.
because they're huge and expensive.
Yeah. I usually buy them. I've got this app that tells me when they come on sale and things come on sale, so that's when I buy them. But you can't wait too long or else I missed out the first print of the saga Legends, and so now it's in second printing finally, and so finally I can complete the saga collection. I like the Walking Dead. I collect all that. I'm not really a horror fan, so sometimes I would, if you went and grabbed my Walking Dead books, but I love the storytelling and the characters. There's post-it notes covering up certain images that I don't like to look at second time. I remember the first time seeing it, I was like, oh!
Yeah, they did pretty good on those page reveals, the turn page reveals and such.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I collected Bone in black and white at the time, and then recollected them again when they went to a smaller version in color, and then Criminal. I love those with Ed Brubaker, and then currently, I guess independent stuff that I've been getting. Yeah, I don't do single issues much at all anymore.
Yeah, same. I'm very much a trade reader.
Yeah, same. And so I got a couple of Canadian. Okay, I'm in Canada, so there's a company called Pegamoose Press. It's like a Pegasus with a moose.
That doesn't sound real.
Yeah. And then so this is their book here, by Brenda Hickey and Troy Little. And so this is a story that's told from point of view of one character, and then you have to turn the book upside down and read it from the point of view of another character.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's got really good art in it too. Oh, I had some
Whoa.
drawings in there. I forgot they're in there.
Wow.
And so they're on the east coast of Canada, and then another independent company in Canada is called Raid Press, and they're in Toronto. And so one of the books that they had put out was, I've talked about this before, Forest Folk. So I
Yeah.
enjoy collecting those.
Yeah.
So that's a comic strip style book. And then what was the other one? Oh yeah. Then the other Canadian, Jay Stevens, who does Dwellings. I don't know if that's going to come in soon. But yeah.
It'll be up in another segment. We'll talk about that Dwellings a little bit.
But also, I'm waiting for his Gold Key comic, Figgy Furthermore.
Oh yeah, that looks. I mean, everything he does looks so good.
Yeah. So he's a big deal in cartooning in Canada because he used to do the comics in one of the magazines that kids grow up with called Chickadee. So he used to do the Chick and D comics. So that's where we know him from.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know he was such a Canadian icon.
Well, only 2 cartoonists and maybe some kids. But yeah. He's. So those
You
are
guys
mine.
got you guys got Lynn Johnston, don't you?
Yeah, Lynn Johnson. Yep.
Cool. All right.
Forward.
I actually did a quick job of my first round of inking for my Daisy, Susan, and Esther. Let's jump over to D. Brad. What you been drawing there?
A nice lady.
Very cool.
Oh, she is nice.
Yeah, she's from 1979, so she's got short shorts and a halter top. And so this will be a summer camp.
Is this from something?
Yeah, it's going to be from my character in my comic. My comic I'm going to make.
Yeah.
It was a comic I made in high school, and then I looked at it and I go, this is bad. And so I'm just kind of, but I loved the plot line and the characters, so I'm redoing it.
That's
There you
awesome.
go.
Yeah, it's a great design already.
Well, let's check in with Winston. If you want to jump over to your share screen and kind of see some progress on what you've been drawing behind the scenes here.
Yeah. So
There we
here's
go.
what we've had so far. The blue is what the pencils look like. If you want to, this is what the final look is going to look like. So the blue lines are final. I think it just creates like a really unsettling and kind of unique look.
Yeah, it's cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, blue lines for foreground, red for background, and then sky blue for the far background. And so yeah, that's where I'm currently at.
That's
Very cool.
that's awesome.
See, I've said it before on this show, but it's like I see stuff like that and I'm like, man, I want to try that. And then I'll do it and I'm never happy with how it looks. You know what I mean? Like I want to do something with like not black lines. And then I do it and I'm like, all right, they're gonna be black lines.
Trying.
I did a lot of thing with like maroon lines because in all your comics you'd see a lot of, or whatever the technical color would be. I always just call it maroon. And then when I would kind of incorporate that into some of my own drawings, then I just revert back to black, and I'm like, it looks better when it's just the Comics ones. Rogers, take a little look at what you've been drawing here.
I got a cat and then a random slaughter otter that I'm making here.
Oh, is that cat from what's the cat's name?
His name creatively is Ket, Kett.
Cats, right.
I have a picture of him. I just don't know where it is.
Can you hear hammering? Hammering? Do you hear hammering?
I do not hear hammering.
Okay, good. You do?
That's just in your head, I think. You should exit this call and go see a doctor.
All right.
They've got doctors in Canada.
There we go. This is the final look. Get rid of the dots layer. There we go. This is what the book is gonna look like.
I like the colors you chose for that.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah, I've been looking at like risograph stuff where they're like, we did this whole thing in 2 colors, and I was like, I want to try that.
That's awesome.
I've actually
Gorgeous.
done like a ton of different combinations. I'm like, we'll try it with regular colors. Well, that doesn't work. So,
I
yeah,
like design, just like the black and white clothes,
yeah, it's hot, little Han Solo.
Yeah. Well, and then the skin is a little PZ Forcio in a way. So
Yeah.
yeah. Very cool. All right, jump over. So I have a big stack of books here, and I'm not gonna spend 10 minutes in each one because I have a lot here. So it'll be kind of rapid fire. But I talked about Giant Days. I saw this in the previous catalog back in 2015. #1 issue, Boombox. It says 1 of 6 right here on the cover. This series would end up going into I think 54 issues plus a couple one shots and a bunch of just it went above and beyond what their original goal was, which was 6 issues. But I'll give the pitch on this one mainly just because it's my favorite one of a current modern non-big two. But you got these 3 young ladies who go to university, and you have your Susan, your Esther, and your Daisy, as I have set up on the screen here, and they're all kind of randomly assigned a dorm room and 3 different kind of personalities, and they all gel together pretty well. And it's just a very comedic slice of life, dealing with relationships. And there's a couple kind of heightened reality moments throughout here, where it's almost like it's a dream sequence, but it's not. It's so hard to explain, but they don't. It's just kind of a really cool thing that they'll kind of dive into from time to time. But for the most part, a fairly grounded and realistic type of book. But yeah, Giant Days, I have them all in single issues. I bought them all digitally and all the hardcover collections because this is my favorite thing that's come out for a modern non big two comic book. So I've drawn these characters once before. I don't think I have a mini print available that I made, but Future Anthony, we'll put that up now. So let's all take a look at Future Anthony putting this image up. Whoa.
Ooh.
Wow. Thanks, Mr.
Yeah,
Anthony.
Winston, your mind was blown on that one.
My goodness.
Yeah, so good stuff. All right, so this will be the rapid fire stuff. That creative team from Giant Days, this is a more recent one of the last 2 years. The Great British Bump Off. It's a 4-issue series, and it's basically a murder mystery meets the Great British Bake Off type of reality food show type of thing, but mix that in with a murder mystery, and that's what you got. So that's some good stuff. So even though Giant Days has ended a couple years ago, he still kind of plays. John Allison plays in this world of that a lot of his characters kind of cross over, and it's all similar styles and humor and stuff. So anytime he comes out with a new book, I kind of feel that I'm dipping back into that pre-existing world. Another one, recent one, we talked about all the issues on the Crimson Cowl Comic Club. The Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, the post-apocalyptic one, is a very recent one. Very mature audiences. I should let people know that some of the stuff in this stack here are very mature audience, as well as some fun family-friendly ones too. But parents and guardians, use your discretion when people...
Especially that second volume.
Yeah. The book 2 of that, or the chapter 2, whatever they called it. We talked about that at the club, and we were all we very much noticed the change in content for that. The Santos Sisters, we've been advertising the Santos Sisters for both Crimson and Cartoonist by Night, which helped bump up some of our numbers for viewing and stuff. But yeah, everybody that works on the Santos Sisters, a bunch of fun, crazy characters that are kind of done in an Archie classic style.
Yeah,
And congratulations to them. Yeah. They got picked up by Fantagraphics.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, hardcover collection of the first 5 issues.
Oh, I saw that post, but I guess I didn't look at who was doing it. I figured it was just whatever, but hey, that's awesome.
Living the dream.
Heck
They're
yeah.
up there with Daniel Klaus.
Good stuff.
Well, yeah, I like
this one here, top favorite, the Shirtless Bear Fighter. It was I think it was like 5 or 7 issues, but then they actually came back a couple years later with another round, and I was so pleased because I didn't know it was happening, and I just wanted more. But this is some ridiculous, over the top fun. Absolutely love the Shirtless Bear Fighter comics.
That's hilarious. Another great title.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. And what's great is that his first name is Shirtless.
Oh,
So
really?
they refer to him as Shirtless, and yeah, so
So it's not a nickname, it's actually his born given name.
yeah, it's been a while since I've revisited, but all I know is that they refer to him as Shirtless. So
Okay.
I have a couple
A
horror
character named Tank Top.
tank top,
Ooh.
a couple horror books here. Jeff Lemire, everything that he does with Andrea Sorrentino, they just have an awesome team. So Gideon Falls, that was a real creepy series. I think it went like maybe 18 issues, something like that.
I was just reading their Old Man Logan last night, and I mean
Yeah.
anything Lemire does is going to be great, and
Yeah.
Sorrentino just pushes him over the top.
Yeah, that's where I first saw them, and like the original Old Man Logan run. Was that Steve McNiven and Miller, I believe,
Yeah.
and the fact that they revisited that through Secret Wars, and it went like 50 issues or something collectively with all the different runs, I think.
Oh wow.
It's one of those things being like, why are they like doing this so much? But it was all so good, especially Jeff and Sorrentino. But
Oh, this was on my list too.
the Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. So a very current-ish comic. I've only read a couple of these, so I haven't read the full thing yet. But this was basically like the busy world of Richard Scarry in with a horror lens, basically.
Oh, I love those books. Richard Scarry.
Well,
Let's put the scary in Richard
Yeah.
Scary.
Take one of
D. Brad's copy of Richard Scarry has a bunch of post-it notes over some of the pictures.
Yeah.
Hey, D. Brad, you went to school with that worm, right? Was it the lowly worm? What's that guy?
An apple car.
Molly? What's his name? Molly Worm? Molly? Molly?
Holy.
Off air, we talked about Ryan Brown. Winston name dropped, God Hates Astronauts. We talked about Blast Furnace. They did Curse Words with Charles Soule, and most recently, the 8 Billion Genies. I just happen to have a remark edition here with signatures from all of them as well. But everything that Soule and Brown do together is just it's an automatic buy. And there we go. Winston's got the collected edition.
Yeah.
He just signed to have a movie or a TV series made out of that too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I'm so happy that like he's blowing up after, and he's on Minor Threats, that Patton Oswalt comic, and that just got a
Barfly.
Yeah.
Check out the most recent episode of Crimson Cowl Comic Club as we talked about Barfly, and
Yeah, I was just watching that today, so I heard it. That sounds familiar.
Very cool. And like kind of seeing Ryan Brown like in pictures with Patton Oswalt and stuff, I'm just like, I'm so happy for him, so getting to rub elbows with those guys and working with Kyle Starks on that and everything. More Jeff Lemire. We got Fish Flies, which is a more recent series, but everything that Jeff does where he writes and draws is 100% on my list. I omitted I can't think of the name now. Family.
Royal City.
Royal City, yeah, Royal City, and that is a top favorite of mine. And but yeah, Jeff Lemire. So that's another one there. We'll talk a little bit about Scotty Young because everything that he's been doing after his Wizard of Oz adaptations over with Marvel and starting to do like I Hate Fairyland, which is next on my list.
Oh,
I
yeah,
Hate
okay.
Fairyland, which had an awesome first run, but then currently is back with another edition. And Twig was a mini series here with Kyle Strahm that Scotty did, and just everything. Even though he's been getting, he gets a lot of great artists that almost feel like they're living inside Scotty's brain because it looks like, oh, this is, you could almost think that it's Scotty's art when you realize like, oh, he didn't draw that, he didn't draw this, he didn't draw that, because he kind of really meshes well with the people that he gets together with for his series. So we had mentioned, I think I forget what's on and off air now, but Where Monsters Lie. I think Winston, did you talk about this one yet?
I did not.
Okay, I forget if
No.
you dropped this one or not, but Kyle Starks, Peter Kowalski. This has a second volume that is going to be coming out shortly, and it's all in the previews right now. But yeah, it's a fun little like crazy little like horror community, and there's just a lot of weird people that live in this kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, but there's a lot of investigating going on. I shouldn't even be showing what's going
There's
on.
a lot of post-it notes covering panels.
Oh yeah.
It's got a lot of humor to it, but very gruesome. If you are a fan of like the several past decades of horror movies, whether it's slasher movies and all the different genres and stuff, they seem to kind of find their own version, kind of representation of any of the big like horror monsters and put them into this world with their own character design.
Oh, cool.
And I'll speed this up here because I'm looking at the stack here. It doesn't end. Zor over at Keen Spot, couple issues into this, and it's a super fun all ages title. Had
Yeah, I've seen
a lot of fun with Zor. That is from Rob Pochak and Michael Gecko Adams, if you will.
Gecko.
But yeah,
Great.
Why Gecko? Where'd that come from?
I don't know. We'll have to reach out and see if he wants to be on the show, and he could tell us all about it.
He is half lizard.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now people aren't going to watch the episode. Future Anthony. Oh, a recent release. I think it's a bi-monthly, but Toxic Summer.
What is that from Oni Press?
Yeah.
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 Toxic Summer's amazing.
Yes, it is, and I know Winston shared Toxic Summer goodness recently, but yeah, I haven't read the second issue yet, but when the first one came out 2 months ago, devoured it. It was just perfect from
The color palette is amazing.
Yeah, I'm not really into slice of life, but I picked that up through Oni, and I was just like it was hilarious, laugh out loud.
And the new Popeye book is really good.
Oh yeah.
What's it called?
yeah.
Crap.
Kind of like
Something I Popeye. It's like
a shonen kind of.
yeah, it's like they made it super manga. It's so good.
Okay.
Cool.
That did not work.
And looking at Derek Charm on Toxic Summer, I think he's done some Jughead, if I'm not mistaken.
He
Oh, yeah?
did. Yeah, when they rebooted it a couple years back with like Zardusky and then Wade and Staples on Archie. They actually got me to pick up Archie comics, which I never thought could happen.
Well, I'm glad to have you on board one way or another. So, hopefully, a future guest on this very show. But Jevin Loop has Nuke Rooster. This is super fun. I think a self-published Kickstarter type of deal.
That's hilarious.
Nuke Rooster is fun, adventure. Punch them up, superhero fun. All right, I have two more on the single issue, and then I will break, and I'll come back to my graphic novels for a different part of the show. I see Rodgers is just holding art here. What you showing
I'm
up?
going through so that's my original Archie artwork.
Whoa, that's cool.
One of three that I own.
Am I drawn in that one at all? Because I do own original art of myself drawn into an Archie story. So
Yeah.
You're not
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
Anthony's Archie character.
I have it on my lock screen, so I will show it right here. We won't have to wait for future Anthony, but yeah, I was.
And this isn't just a guy that looks like you, and you're like, yo, that's me for real.
It was part of a Kickstarter campaign through Dan Parent and a Kevin Keller book, and this was before I let the beard go because people were recognizing me too much, and I had to like change my look up because I just kept getting. I couldn't walk down the street. I couldn't go into Pops anymore without being hounded to sign an autograph or sign a burger or two.
Yeah, and Big Ethel wouldn't leave you alone.
Yeah. The last two on the single issue list before we'll change over the topic, but Squish and Squash over at Keen Spot there. This is super fun, all ages, kind of like aliens, like kind of like Space Cops adventure, kind of rescue. I'm trying to think of the term, but they're
It's
basically.
up for a Ringo Award for Best Kids Comic.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I did a variant cover for issue #1. So if it wins, does that mean that I am a Ringo Award-winning variant cover artist?
Yeah, you can put that on a resume.
Variant cover artist for award-winning comic.
Yes.
Yes.
Future Anthony is showing that variant cover here. Let's all ooh and ah over Matt
I mean,
Rodgers.
you were just holding it in your hand.
Oh, is that it?
That's my variant cover.
Okay, what's funny is that I had issue 2 in the pile because I
Yep.
couldn't remember where I had issue 1, and then I remembered that was a late thing where I found it. So I totally had a different cover that I forgot I held here. So yeah. So current Anthony, let's look at this art too. Ooh.
Yeah, look how good that turned out. Ooh.
That's very nice.
But
That's
yeah, I couldn't find issue 1 for a while, and then it was just in a different pile. It was in my future Ringo Award-winning variant cover for award-winning book.
That pile, the soon to be sold on eBay pile.
Yep. I just have to get that signed real quick before that happens. Okay, and then the last one for current stuff, The Last Mermaid, Derek Kirk Kim. Let me double check because I think that's one person, just the way the name was. Yep, Derek Kirk Kim. This book is gorgeous. Looking at the art on the inside here, especially for this little guy right here. And this is on, I think, the cover for issue #2, and
Like
it's a
painting.
square type of issue format rather. But yeah, this series has been real gorgeous, and literally a mermaid who is traveling around with that little aquatic friend, and she here is that image I was referring to. It's the second cover.
That looks great.
But this all started as an idea, and it's basically this little mermaid. I didn't mean to say that, but this mermaid, and in this basically like Krang's body type of, or like that thing that Krang was in before he got his body. What's that little?
His robot body.
Yeah, just like but not like the human looking robot body, but that little.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
mermaid cruises around there to try to stay alive during a not having access to water. She's kind of in her own, basically her own little fishbowl is kind of. There we go.
That's a great. I love that. Love that mech style with the
mech. That's the term I was trying to find, but all right, cool. All right, so that is just kind of round 1. I'll cut back to it later because I have a stack of just like graphic novel specific stuff for non-Big 2. But we had talked about this when you're talking about non-Big 2 comics, we have the perfect guest on this very show because I have some examples of some.
Is Jeff Lemire here?
Jeff Lemire, come on in.
We got Eastman and Laird.
Winston, thank you for joining us. Well, good night. We got these other guys coming in. No, but Winston Gambro. So you have a lot of non-Big 2 comics that I have set up here, but I want to kick it off first with what would be the more current thing that you are plugging. Lights in the Sky. Can you give us the elevator pitch before we dive into this?
Yeah, it's inspired by all real world mysteries, especially aliens. It's about a woman who believes her baby was kidnapped by extraterrestrials, and she kidnaps a radio show host who she believes can bring the baby home.
Very cool. Yeah.
And, it's all drawn to look like black and white, kind of grainy UFO photos, like the photos of Bigfoot or Area 51 that you can just barely make it out, and that's what makes it so weird.
And the share screen, and we'll see some examples that you had up on your website here.
Impending.
But yeah, I've read this a few times now, and I just recently picked up the hard copy when I saw you at Fan Expo in Chicago. And let's see here. There's one. Trying to look where my lineup is here. It's out of order. Here's a third one I had set up. Looking at some of those page examples, but yeah, this is. I think it caught that vibe of that. It was very eerie, very mysterious, and I love the way the dialogue. Let me cut out of this so I can show some of that of the like the radio calls being taken, and just kind of the way it's kind of mapped out here, just kind of like you're reading a script basically. And it is such a cool design of just kind of jumping from this and then jumping over to the comic panels and then going back into, you know, these stories from the callers and everything. And even I love the little touch of what, turn down your radio, or what's that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you get that a couple times in here. Like, it's stuff that, you know, it by just reading it, it really gives you a good a visual of it just by literally reading it. So
This is it's very much based on this old radio program called Coast to Coast, where I mean the story is the same for like this fictional one, where it started as kind of a political show where anyone could call in and give their takes, but it kind of if you have no filters, it devolves into absurdity, and so it turned into people calling in about aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot, and that's what they kind of turned into, and they found their market. And so I've listened to a lot of those as research for this, and I cannot tell you the number of people that he had to tell turn down your radio.
Oh yeah.
So based on
Yeah, dude. Art Bell was awesome.
Feedback to echo.
Yeah.
I was just listening to a podcast episode about John Titor and how that whole thing started with a fax that was sent in to Coast that Art Bell read on the show. And while he was reading the first fax on the show, the guy heard him and sent him a second fax. He read that one live too. It was awesome.
Oh, gosh, I didn't know that it started on Coast to Coast. I would have put that in the book.
Right. I had no idea either until I listened to this episode. I was like, what the heck is going on? I thought it was like internet forum stuff, but
too. Oh, that's awesome. I love that's like one of my favorite I mean, I'm fascinated by aliens and that kind of mystery, which, you know, I did a whole book about it. Yeah, especially because conspiracies nowadays, they go so dark so fast. I mean, like there's no fun conspiracies like John Titor, like there's no time travel conspiracies. It's all very sad things.
I think like at the heart of it, when we think about conspiracies, we all know that they're not real. And I think the thing that ruins conspiracies now is that so many people buy into them and think that they are real. So it deflates it a lot, where you're just like, oh, you're being for real. I'm using my imagination, and you're over here like, oh yeah, yeah. Hey,
has anyone read Department of Truth?
No.
No.
But a couple. James Tynion, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. Like everyone at home should look up the art by Martin Simmons. It's all like painted and impressionistic with a lot of graphic design like mixed in, and the basic premise is if enough people believe in something, it becomes real. And so it follows this government organization that tries to stop conspiracy theories before they become true.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
And like the opening issue is the character, flat earthers believe that Earth is, you know, a disc, and then there's an ice wall surrounding it. And the opening issue, the main character goes to the ice wall while being like, this is impossible. And it's because enough people at this flat earth conference believed it became true.
Okay.
Wow.
Like it actually really became true, or it came true to everybody like they think it's true?
It changed reality, and that's the danger that they face.
Really happened. Okay, got it. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. See, I love like the behind the scenes stuff like that, like the SCP, that sort of stuff's awesome. And then like I know it's one of the big two, but DC Comics, they had like Booster Gold working behind the scenes by traveling through the multiverse and like correcting like retcons and stuff for a while, and that was awesome. Just that whole aspect is super cool to me.
I've never heard of that, Ron. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So am I crazy? Has there ever been a comic where Batman went back in time and stopped his parents from being killed. Then like reality got worse, so he had to go back in time and kill his own parents. Has that happened?
Ooh.
I mean, the one person that I know would know isn't here right now because Matt Fife has, I think he owns every Batman comic since 1986.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So he would know that, but he's not here. So I will say, no, you should make that book.
And
Old Batman's worst day.
Yeah.
my friend Jim from the Crimson Cowl Comic Club, big Batman fan and everything too. That's I'll have to ask him that too because he may know that off the top of his head. But
I forget if I read it or if I made it up. If I made it up, OC, do not steal.
Claim it now.
we got it on record right here. This is copyright Winston Gambro. So
I mean, it's an awesome pitch. I mean, the very first comic book that me and Fife ever talked about doing was going to be an Elseworlds story called Switched at Birth, and it was going to be that Superman's ship crashed in Gotham, and
I think that was,
he was adopted by the Waynes,
yeah.
and so Superman ends up being like dark and moody, and then like Batman was going to be basically like family man, parents lived and grew up in a tiny town.
That's pretty cool.
And then
I saw one like that with Superman and Tarzan.
oh wow, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
How long till Superman's in the public domain? Like, we're getting there.
It's like 10 years, I think, like 36 or
I'm not sure.
30, 29, something. I don't know.
It's in the 30s, yeah.
But
I'm not sure when the copyrights expire. I don't know that.
yeah, it's weird because like I found out that in Australia, Tolkien is public domain
Oh, really?
because the laws there are different. Because in America, we decided we can't let Mickey Mouse go public domain. Let's keep extending the deadline. So I think now it's like 75 years after the death of the creator in the United States.
Mhm.
But then it's also like super picky, like the whole Mickey Mouse thing. Like Mickey Mouse is not public domain. Steamboat Willie is public domain. So if you have him talk or wear white gloves, then they can sue you.
I just heard that Namor and Shazam or Captain Marvel are both public domain.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like there must be a ton of asterisks after that because I've never seen any profit off of it.
Yeah, that's it's weird. I mean, it's the same country that copyright law allowed Night of the Living Dead to be public domain the second that it was released because they didn't put the copyright notice on the title card.
Oh, man.
So like the moment that movie came out, it was okay.
That's so funny.
Then you have Bill Willingham got mad at DC and was just like, Fables is public domain.
And then I believe DC like the next day is like, no, it is not.
I was like, but isn't everything in Fables public domain anyways, and that's why you made it?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so I have an independent book everybody should read. It's called Everything Sucks
Oh, yeah.
by Michael Sweater.
Sweater.
It is really good. It's about this little bird man that finds a duffel bag of money. So he goes to blow it all. And it's very R-rated. And then I want to show off the best 2-page spread ever made.
How many Post-it notes does it need?
oh yeah, we've seen. Yeah, I remember you showing us that.
A sub sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
And it has stickers and stuff in the back. That one's really good. I said Jim Rugg earlier. He has 2 books that I've bought from him. One's called True Crime Funnies.
Oh, yeah.
And he has his newest one, Conspiracy Comics. They're all like short. I think each one of them has 4 short stories.
Anthology type of deal.
Yeah, the first one has has a story. What is it? So he found this like biography about some cop, and he started taking some of the stories that the cop would tell and he put them in comic form, and they're pretty fun. He has a lot of wrestling stuff. Like Andy Warhol hung out with Dusty Rhodes for a night, so he made a comic about it.
Okay.
The second one, Conspiracy Comics, has Ric Flair and the Texas Tornado doing a match on Christmas. It's called Christmas Cage Match. And then it has a story about an airplane that disappeared in Pittsburgh, and it's all good stuff. And then got, where did it go? I did pick up a cop. I found a #1 of Wrassle,
Oh yeah.
which is good stuff. That one's awesome. And I don't know, have you ever heard of Ultimate Creations, the
No.
publishing company?
Is that like Ultimate Spider-Man?
No, close.
Is it
They
like
actually-
X-Men?
They put out,
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
this is the Ultimate Warriors comic book. And I don't know if it picks up on screen, but this one is autographed by
Oh.
the Ultimate Warrior.
Ooh.
Matt Rodgers. Oh wait, Ultimate Warrior.
It's pretty awful.
It's awful.
like the most 90s.
Oh,
God.
where everything's extreme. Yep.
I mean, look at that dude. Bro.
Well, who drew it?
His tassels are
Warrior.
going crazy. Let's see. Ultimate Warrior drew it. No, he didn't.
Macho Man drew it.
Who did draw Macho Man? Oh yeah, Elizabeth. Well, the weird thing is there's no like credits page at the beginning.
It has to remain anonymous.
Right. Don't put my name on this, please.
Alan Smithy.
Where is it? Oh, there we go.
A young Michael Cole.
Pencils and inks are by Jim Callahan,
Jim Callahan.
and the story was written by the Ultimate Warrior.
The Ultimate Warrior.
Just imagine him with a typewriter like one at a time.
Ooh,
Tassels are getting cut and like flinging all over.
adjusting his glasses. Yeah, it was lettered and everything by Richard Starkings of Comic Craft, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, quite a get.
Yeah, man, how'd they afford him? What else do I have to show off? I don't know if it counts because it's Dynamite, but the Space Ghost is really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
New. The only
Not
one I
Marvel,
could
it's not DC.
I had to buy the foil cover, which I was a little bit disappointed with. It's like $10.
Oof.
But as a guy who just one of the Slaughter Otter covers is a $100 metal cover, I guess I can't really complain.
Gold.
Who would
Yeah.
ever pre-order one of those?
Dude, you want to know what's crazy is we got our numbers back and like we sold like 8 of them.
Ooh.
I was just like, cover
Anthony.
A is on metal from now on.
I got one for every day of the week, and then one more for the next Monday. So
Oh, that's great. Then I do have one that is rated R. When we did Gem City Comic Con, they had a like table when you walked in that just had flyers and stuff. And each day, this dude just dropped off a box of books, and it's called Radio Yankee by Bancho Brawler is the name.
Banshee.
And this is just a collection of short comics that he did from 21 to 23. And it's just like little black and white stories, and they're super fun. And Anthony, future Anthony, you're gonna have to cut this next part.
fair enough. So what
Right.
we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick look at that awesome trailer for Rice Christopher.
Yeah.
Check it out.
In a world with so many stories, from movies to television, and of course, comic books, comes a story that's only available in one of the 3 mediums I listed earlier. What you are about to see in this trailer is a character debut like you've never seen before. And now, we are just buying dramatic time by repeating the same shots that you just got done watching. We are truly very sorry about that. And now, introducing Rice Christopher!
We'll come back from seeing the trailer in 3, 2.
Well, that's something I've never seen before.
1.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. Yeah. That trailer is so good.
Yeah.
It, you know.
How did you get Josh Brolin for that? Like,
You know, after Thanos and not being called back for Deadpool Wolverine, it was just like he was hard up for working.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get too far off, we want to close the book on Lights in the Sky. So how can people get themselves a copy of this?
Gumroad.com/Winston Gambro.
Gumroad? Okay.
Or just WinstonGambro.com, and there will be a link to my shop.
Okay.
All that information will be up on the screen as well. But yeah, this was it Kickstarter you did it through?
Yeah.
Originally, yep. So yeah, this is awesome and highly recommended if you are a fan of when it comes to aliens and Roswellian type of things. This is a really cool and greatly designed book. So I think that's like the real winner there of just kind of going.
I have a question for Winston.
Yeah, jump in.
All right. How I know that you do a lot of writing. How do you decide when you're going to draw it and when someone else is going to draw it? Because I know you collaborate with artists too.
So for the most part, I just draw my own. The only time I've written for someone else, I did an all ages book where it was an anthology, like a bunch of 5-page stories, and I just thought it'd be really cool to have a different art style for every book.
Yeah. And then, have you had anybody write stuff for you?
Yeah. I've a decent amount of people have commissioned me to draw their stories. I've got some.
Great.
I just had a Kickstarter for a post-apocalyptic one that ended last week.
Oh yeah.
OCS, and then I've got something in the pipeline. I don't think I can talk about.
All right.
Exciting. And then I've got a webtoon I did called Gumshoe City.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be very cartoony, very classic Looney Tunes, but in a mystery world. And I'm like, I can't draw this cartoony, so I found an amazing artist named Michael Lee Harris, commissioned him to draw it, and I could not be happier. No way I could do that. So basically, it's if I think I can do the style or not.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Cool. We'll jump over to a series which led into us meeting. You were promoting Haunted House, a love story. This is a 6-issue miniseries that was done through Blood Moon Comics. Can you give us the pitch on this one?
Yeah, this is about a sentient house that falls in love with the person living in it. When that person falls for someone else, the house gets jealous and seeks vengeance.
Nice.
Wow.
I said that.
It's personal.
I have that synopsis basically tattooed on me because I think I said it about 1,000 times during Fan Expo Chicago.
Yeah, you can see how quickly it rolled right off the tongue. We're going to take a look at the share screen here as we see some of the artwork that you supplied through your website. But yeah, when we had met, you were just getting ready to promote this and get people to check it out in the previews. You were generous enough to give us an early copy for the Crimson Cowl Comic Club, and we read through that and were able to give you some questions talking about that. If you want to learn a lot more about that, you can always just go back into that and type in probably Crimson Cowl, Winston Gambro, and that will probably pop up. At the time of this recording, I'm still waiting on issue 6 to show up because during the pre-ordering of this book, I had to switch comic shops and get stuff from different locations and such. So it's been stuck in like an order that's like waiting for other like pre-order omnibuses to come out. So it's just kind of been sitting there for a while. But yeah, from what I've read so far, because I was trying to, I read a couple of them knowing I had to wait for issue number 6. But yeah, it's kind of cool just kind of visiting a different family and in a different house. Oh, I was going to switch over to another page here in just a second. But yeah, issue by issue and kind of seeing this house and how it reacts to the new people living there. And it's a cool, like sort of like an anthology in a way, but still keeping your main character of the house in there. Can you kind of just talk about what led you to doing the story in general?
Yeah, I was watching some haunted house movie. I don't even remember which one, and a ghost was in it, and it just kind of struck me. I'm like, what if it isn't like a person? What if it's the house trying to talk to someone? And from there, I was like, what else would a house do? Like, what emotions would it have if it's trying to communicate them? And like, what if it falls in love? And it's kind of where we are.
That's good. I love that idea.
Yeah, very, very cool series, and highly recommended. It's yeah, kind of a cool format, and I dig it. I dig it when the reds come in, and I guess your background's here, and actually got well, we see it on the share screen, but the one I'm also sharing just from the actual comic book, and just love that background work and just kind of having that, that sky illuminate through all the windows and just great color choices here. So
It's a great tree.
Winston, you color everything too? You color everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're do you ever just do work as a colorist?
Just on one issue.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. Coloring is probably, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I'm definitely the most persnickety about it. Like,
Yeah.
either in my work or in like reading other comics, I'm like that's when what I really focus on. But yeah, I think I just prefer to color my own stuff for the most part.
Yeah. No, you definitely have a great eye for it. It makes your work stand out.
And we have mentioned Fan Expo a couple times, and I believe that is where we first met in 2023 was the Fan Expo Chicago. And
yeah, that's our year anniversary.
That's right. And there was a
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, and there was a certain technique and a certain marketing ploy that you have. I have some examples, not only of the one I'm holding, but I have some that I plucked from your social media. But how did you get my attention on that fateful day?
If there's anyone who's tabling for the first time at a convention, the hardest thing to do is to get someone to come to your table. And no one cares who I am. No one knows my name. And so you need a gimmick. And I've figured out that to back up a little, at C2E2 on Friday, I was told, oh, hey, tomorrow there's going to be a meetup for potential comic creators. And I'm like, that'd be cool. I don't have any business cards. So in that hotel room, that night I tore up a notepad, wrote my contact info, but I'm like, this looks like garbage. But what if I draw Batman on each one? People are less likely to throw out a half decent drawing of Batman. And so from there, my gimmick is I ask someone walking by if they want a free drawing. Often they ignore me, but sometimes they're intrigued. And then I say their favorite superhero, and I draw on my little business card. I've got a white spot, I can draw their favorite superhero live while they browse my comics. And it's a way for them to come to my table, get my contact info, and hopefully not throw it out on the way home.
Well, to prove that I didn't throw it out, here is the Silver Surfer that I requested on your business card here, and we're taking a look at that now on the
Okay.
screen and just seeing
Nice.
that full background work and stuff too on that. Man, look at that.
I'll say I think I really struck it up with you because that is the deluxe version.
Is that right? Yeah, so I remember that there's a certain time of a convention day. If I'm there for one day, mostly in Artist Alley the whole time, and there are times when I get to the point where I'm like, all right, I've already spent a lot of money. I still want to browse at some places, but I'm not. I'm just gonna kind of look at what grabs my attention really quick. But for the most part, I'm kind of speed walking at a certain time of the convention, and that's at the point when Winston called over and asked if I wanted a free drawing, and I'm like, well, how can I say no to that? And then I'm looking at his stuff, and I'm seeing a lot of which I do have some examples here. I'm seeing a bunch of like mini like zine comics here, and so I'm kind of going through some of this stuff here and checking out recognizable character prints and posters and whatever else has to offer, but striking up the conversation. And then i'm never I'm never there to say, hey, I have a comic club at that point. Cartoonist by Night was a couple months in, but that's not really my mission going into those shows at all, and not just going by everybody's table and giving my information. But Winston was talking a little more, and that's when it kind of led to like, oh, this might be a potential, like, be a fun person to have on the show and stuff. And we exchanged information, and then it was like a week later we had him on Crimson Cowl, and yeah, and the rest was history. But yeah, there was the it all started with this Silver Surfer drawing on this business card. And I do have a collage that I put together of a couple of the drawings that I found from your social media. So we're going to be looking at that in just a second. Yeah, Wonder Woman, got some Swamp Thing and some Spider Gwen. So yeah, a couple examples of the.
Man, I think I posted that Spider one because I was happy with it. Because when a kid asks for that, I'm always like, oh no, I don't know how to draw a hood.
Yeah, that can get tricky. Yeah, I think I've done that for Troy's character, Kid Slapshot, and drawing the hood. And I remember like getting where I'm just like, I just have to copy what Troy did on this because I don't know how to draw hoods.
And I like at the bottom, there's Bryce Christopher's suit.
Wait, where are we looking at here?
The suit under Savage Dragon, I think.
Oh, yeah, what the heck?
The heck?
Oh, looks like you owe Winston some money.
God.
Future Anthony, let's end this episode. This will never air. Was he when you say that? Because like I have that character like all over my background and stuff too, and I'm just looking. I'm like, wait, what are we all looking at here? But yeah, so that was it, and then I picked up I think I picked up the blank. I forget if I picked up both of them first. Probably did. I don't think I've done any online orders. I think it's just at your tables and stuff. But I picked these up and devoured them. And we do have some examples here. Kind of talk about you have a lot of different like zines. You want to talk about just that in general on what drives you to do this kind of work?
Yeah, so basically I have 5 books, like self-contained graphic novels, and then 3 tiny little zines that Anthony's holding. And they're, I believe, 12-ish pages. I find well, for one thing, I really only like selling complete stories. Like I find it's a hard pitch to a random person to be like, this is part 1 of 6. Please come back next year.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And so some of these are just kind of proof of concepts, like the blank. It was a rewriting of a podcast I was a fan of, and that's as long as the story as I wanted it to be. Like I didn't want to expand it past how long the podcast went. And I've got like a fan BioShock comic that's kind of the same thing, like how much it was all how much time I wanted to invest in it. And then the envelope I was commissioned by the writer Eddie Klinker to draw it, and we had discussed it, and I think I'd suggested this size because it's I like to have this option of smaller comics because someone might not want to invest in, a huge graphic novel that I've done because I'm such an unknown, but they might be willing to pay $5 for one of these. Get a little, get a full story, get a taste of some flavor, have a little fun, and all for less than a slice of a piece of pizza at the convention.
And the
That's
the
awesome.
envelope, I think, is a good example. Just kind of talking about colors and just seeing a lot of the work here, and some of these first couple pages I'll show without showing everything. I'll just show a couple of the first ones there, but just kind of get a good example of the colors being used as he talked about earlier.
Yeah, that's the hard part about previewing a zine. It's like, well, this only has 12 pages. How much of this do you think I'm gonna show you?
I have had a person, the downside of my little drawing gimmick, I have a person finish the blank before I finish drawing their Spider-Man or whatever. And he reads the last page out loud and then puts it down. He's like, free drawing, please.
Yeah, it's like I have.
And I apologize for doing that, Winston, but
Yeah, because I have my zine, my dead wrestlers, the obituary zine that I made,
amazing.
and it's only 8 pages. And I'm like, I have it on my my coffee shop, and I'm just like, well, I have to put a preview in here. So I was like 2, and I'm like, I'm gonna pick the worst ones because I don't want to like blow it with the cool stuff. But yeah, I'm actually like falling in love with the idea of just exclusively doing like 12 or 16 page like mini comics. That's actually my plan for this cat character after the cookbook comes out. I'm gonna just like do really low number Kickstarters and just get 16 page mini comics printed up, just black and white with a color cover. Be like, boom, get it out, boom, get it out, boom. And
I think it's a great concept.
and then
yeah.
do the second one.
It's funny that you mentioned 16-page stories because there's this book that's coming out on September 14th, 2024, Rice Christopher, the Wednesday afternoon special. Note, this isn't issue number 27. Yeah, this contains a 16-page story, but then has 4 pages of activities and comic strips and stuff. But yeah, I like that 16-page format. So great segue to plug this comic coming out with.
It's fantastic.
I-
The page count stuff's so hard because like when we did Happy Astronaut, we did all of those as 24-page books, and we've never worked with an editor at our publisher. So it's just like we turn in these final pages and then they print them out and send them. And I always turn them in on the last possible day before the deadline, so they don't even have time to give me notes. And then we switched over to Slaughter Otter, and we're just doing 20-page stories. So then it's like, what do we do with these other 4 pages?
And what do you do?
We just get pinups. It's awesome. I will be right back, like 5 minutes, getting that.
I thought
yourselves.
To mention indie comics, I thought maybe he would take that those 4 extra pages and just do like a saga thing where they just have black pages to in big moments. They've done that, I think, in 1 issue, but it was very impactful. It worked because it was just you kept turning pages and they were all black, and based on what happened in that story, it was very fitting and very unique to kind of do that. But to do that every issue might be kind of, people might be
hard.
Yeah. But if people wanted to get a hold of these mini comics, these zines, where would they go for that?
Gumroad.com/Winston Gambro or WinstonGambro.com.
There we go. So yeah, check that out. A bunch of fun little stuff there. So I know Kirby from Under the Cowl of MS and Crimson Cowl Comic Club. He's gotten some of the ones that you mentioned with like the BioShock stuff. And I know he's into those video games and such. So I think he's got quite a few of his zines as well. So
Thanks, Kirby. Appreciate it.
Okay, so let me put that over here. And while we wait for Rogers, let's check in on D. Brad on what you've been drawing here.
Same
Yeah.
character.
Can you tell us what the story's about?
Well, it was. It is like a guy with superpowers, but he doesn't dress up or anything. But yeah, I need to simplify it so I don't have the full story.
You'll
I could-
need, yeah.
I could tell you the old story. It does take place in a camp. It does involve. It was inspired by the movie Red Dawn.
Go Wolverines.
Yeah. Except it's not Russians that invade where they are. And yeah, it was just like a little summer camp adventure, and then it became like a whole 4-year story in my head. So it's just based on some of the stories I wrote when I was a teenager, and so I'm just kind of taking those ideas and redoing them.
Okay, cool.
So there's some summer camp stuff in it because I grew up in summer camps.
I think that's a great setting. Like it's very
It's easy to background.
nostalgic and familiar.
Yeah, and it has to take place. Cannot take place in the digital age with cell phones. Or
Yeah,
what
so
we're-
many stories change if you introduce smartphones.
yeah.
Like the whole Friday the 13th franchise got ruined by apps.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
mozzarella sticks and onion rings and stuff.
Yeah, Jason had way too many onion rings, and now he can't chase any of those counselors.
Yeah.
He bit into a really hot one, and it was like,
Oh. Okay.
Especially like the heat really like gets at you inside the mask, you know, you're kind of trapped, you know. You get scars for different reasons. So I made the mistake of inking faster than I've ever inked, so I didn't have any colors prepped. So, but I'll kind of go through just my stage 1 inking. Plus, I've been having a lot of show and tell. But by the time the show comes out, I'll probably finish a couple of these for the credits roll and stuff like that. But yeah, it's mostly going for their designs, but then just trying to like where I looked at them, but then just kind of went to just draw it just almost by memory in the sense of just kind of letting my own shapes take over and stuff. I think Daisy might be the one that's most accurate to the initial design, but the other ones I tried to add a little flair to it. Just jump over to Winston if you want to do a share screen. We'll kind of see where you're at with your drawing.
Yeah, we're on to the last. This kind of flew through this one because there's basically no backgrounds in it. But should probably be able to start coloring before it.
Cool. Hanging out on a rooftop there.
Yeah. It will make sense. You know, there are a couple bad girls, so they snuck up to the rooftop to smoke. I just realized all my comics seem to involve cigarettes, and I've never smoked a day in my life. So,
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because when D. Brad called out, I forget that was during the show or not, but Amy Raguti, a friend of mine, an awesome artist. I love the Gill Man, the creature, and while that's on my drawing board, I'm the same boat where I've never smoked a cigarette, but here I am, just like that's on my front of my board there. So
it looks cool.
Yeah.
I realize it's terrible, but guys, you can't argue it looks cool.
Check in with Matt Rodgers and your coloring stages here of your cat and slaughter otter.
they're done.
Do you have a paper texture on that?
Yeah, I have purchased everything from Retro Supply Company,
Hell yeah.
and they have like a whole bunch of paper textures that I have, and I use it like let me pull up a page from Slaughter Otter real quick.
Look at that.
Where can people buy Slaughter Otter?
They can get it at keenspotshop.com. It is out of previews, but they might still be able to tell their comic shops that they want it. But it's on there, I don't know when we're getting our comps, but eventually you'll be able to buy it from me.
Yeah, there'll be at the end of the show, we'll have a list of our upcoming appearances because the Matts and I have conventions on the same weekend, but in different states. But yeah, so by then you should hopefully have some copies.
Yeah, I should. There we go. Yeah, so this is page 1, so you can see that it has like paper texture on there and
Awesome.
looks
Love
all
it.
good. Got creative with it. It's one of those things where I did the first page, and I was like, man, that looks so good. And then by page like 15, I was like, why did I do this to myself? But I'm hoping that it
Why did
turns
you
out it's
say
one of
that?
those it's one of those things where it's like, hopefully this turns out good on paper, because that's another reason I want my comps, is so that I don't get too far in the second issue without having to make like major changes. Like, oh, this looks muddy as heck. I need to change everything about this. But
Oh,
yeah, I'm
Uh,
thinking it should be fine.
Have you ever
Brad,
had something drawn that printed really poorly?
No, not really. I mean, that makes me sound like I'm cocky or something,
No,
but
no.
but
Oh,
you
that's
so
got a
far,
different style with Happy Astronaut, so I could see the wondering how Slaughter Otter would print because it doesn't look like Happy in that sense.
yeah, Happy is it's interesting because the way that I color it is that one, instead of using like a paper texture, I actually put like a noise texture over it. And that way, like, because I know that when you work in RGB, it doesn't translate to CMYK as well, so gradients can get messed up. So I was like, well, if I put a noise texture, that'll help make the gradients like work better. And so those all turned out really good. They're another one of those examples where I looked at like the 5th issue and I was like, yeah. And I looked at the first issue and I was like, ooh, ooh. But now hopefully we're going to be getting set up to put a trade out for that.
all right.
Like our publisher uses what is it? Simon and Schuster, is that the name?
Yeah.
I always get it confused with the Superman creators. So yeah, Simon and Schuster.
Eagle.
And it's like
You go.
real publishing has like a way longer timeline to getting finished. So it's like, well, if we get it all together and get the covers figured out and get that to them, then we could look at like a summer 25 release.
It's like a year later, eh?
I was just like, but I don't want to wait that long. But okay. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's all about Slaughter Otter and Adventure Cats. That's what I'm all about.
Woo.
And dead wrestlers.
And Deadler, yeah.
All right, I'm going to get to the graphic novel portion of the non-big two, so I can rifle
Ooh.
through these. Kate Leth, who I've purchased a lot of stuff from them, but the most recent release is Goth. And once again, I am a fan of the slice of life type of stuff. So whenever I see, especially a handful of creators that I enjoy, and the Goth title just immediately, grabbed my attention. A lot of fun stuff in there, but that is within the last, I think within the last year or two. Another one, Bonding, a love story about people and their parasites. This one I went blind into because I didn't know any of the creators or anything, but that subtitle or that little blurb there was enough to grab my attention. So I always like most of the graphic novels I buy, especially non big two stuff. I like just taking a gamble on those, and I just kind of see the title, see the cover, read a quick synopsis and the previews, and don't really do too much research. Sometimes I don't even read the synopsis if they can hook me in with a really good title name. Which, by the way, D. Brad, you better really crack down on finalizing a title if you're gonna get my attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise this hand will stop you. I just happen to have this one.
Woo. What's that one called?
This
Gideon,
one,
or
yeah.
oh yeah.
Yep. This goes into the next. Once again, talking about Jeff Lemire, but The Bone Orchard Mythos is a collection of miniseries, single issue comic books, as well as original graphic novels that I have to read all of the Tenement yet that I bought single issue, but for the most part, they're all standalone, but they have this overarching, I think, all part of the same. They're all, prefaced by this Bone Orchard Mythos, and then they all kind of have their own little series subtitles and such. But Lemire and Sorrentino going through and created their own horror universe that they basically had like a huge like multi-year plan for, and had been developing this while doing like Gideon Falls and working on their other stuff. And I don't know how Jeff Lemire has time to do all the stuff that he does, because then he'll work for the big two and jump in there, and then he's on the set of his shows getting made, and
And by the way, I drew my own book as well as writing these 8.
Yeah. And then he on his like Patreon or his Substack, then he's doing more stuff exclusive for that platform just to kill time, I guess.
And it's so good. That's why it's so like at no point have I been disappointed with anything he's done. It's so crazy.
Yeah, his name, like, and then we haven't even mentioned the Black Hammer universe of like all of those books. I've only read a handful of those. We did a Justice League crossover that we read on Crimson Cowl Comic Club, and then I do have volume 1 of the Black Hammer to dive into it proper. But it just, yeah. So if you want to talk about non-Big Two comics and creators, Jeff Lemire just has so much work out there, and Winston and I both give it the thumbs up or the 5-finger big hand approval here. So
5 fingers up.
5 fingers up. And then a recent one, which Lisa Cheese and Ghost Guitar Attack of the Snack. This is the example of I just read that title and I just put it in my card, just being like, yep. I don't need
to give her some words that stand out.
Yeah,
cheese. I need cheese in there for sure. Cheese.
Yeah, and Lisa Cheese being the name, this is just super fun and great art style and this crazy kind of superhero type antics. And looking back at this now, I'm getting flashes of God Hates Astronauts as far as
that's instantly what I jumped to.
Not just because there's like a unicorn, muscular bodied unicorn character and a cheeseburger. There are some elements that are similar in that sense, but yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I think this is the person that they were working on another one, because I think they reached out to me. They saw the Crimson video. I didn't take. I think I just hashtagged it, and I'm pretty sure this creator will most likely be on Crimson Call when we get more Lisa Cheese. So.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. From cheese to bread, talking about Turtle Bread. Turtle Bread, a graphic novel about baking, fitting in, and the power of friendship. This is from Kim Joy. This one was promoted through Brad and Lisa over at the Comic Book Couples Counseling Podcast. They had Kim Joy, who I think was a contestant on the one of those baking shows. And then created this this graphic novel here, working with an illustrator. And once again, another slice of life thing, but this one was very unique and kind of had, while there was a story going on with these characters, we do get in between like ingredients or for whatever they're making in there, almost kind of what Rodgers was talking about, just kind of having a story and a recipe. It's kind of what's going on over here, and I think Lisa and Brad are part of that pots and pans thing, correct?
Oh yeah.
I believe yes. I think she's drawing a story for it.
And I think that it might be their first thing that they are that's coming out for them as creators.
It's star-studded, man. There's a ton of people on it.
Heck yeah. Is Jeff Lemire on that?
Maybe. If he's working under a pen name.
Yeah, working under the pen name of Brad and Lisa.
Yeah, his story is under the name Matt Rodgers. It's about
Oh.
this little cat.
Oh,
You should check it out.
Desmond Reed is somebody who I had on Crimson Cowl. Desmond Reed out of the Massachusetts area. So maybe some people that are watching this through bevcam.org on their public access television. We do have a connection with them, Winston, where people can watch these very episodes in Beverly, Massachusetts.
Very.
But the Cola Pop Creamies, there's a whole episode we did with him. This is a graphic novel of new stories. He's working on more stuff, but he's was like an Instagram comic, and he's got a bunch of stuff on the Instagram to check it out. And but this was another one of those where I saw a Cola Pop Creamies as a description in the catalog, and dove right in, and then did some work and got to the point where I loved it so much and invited Desmond onto the show, and that was a blast. But yeah, he's got a very unique style here, and a lot of these just with working with silhouettes. And but yeah,
That's awesome.
he's a good indie creator.
that one's like a madcap crazy dream.
Yeah, it's got follows these band members, and it has a bunch of short stories that And speaking of Five Fingers Up, I should mention that you see in the background here. This is their house that they all live in. Is this giant hand?
Oh,
It's like something out of like Tim Burton house or something, like a creation. Oh yeah, here's a bigger, just like a wacky hand house that they all live in. So, but yeah, highly recommend that. You can read a lot of Cold Pop Creamy stuff for free on Desmond Reed's social media. But this graphic novel has all new material. Here's somebody that we all adore here from Cartoonist by Night, Mayor Goodboy. We have
Dave Scheid.
David Scheid. Wow, I never was so formal with him. David. And Miranda Harmon. They have, I think, 3 of the books out. I devour them when they come out. I hope there's more. I'm always excited to get more. But Mayor Goodboy is a fun all ages graphic novel series. Definitely check that out. But yeah, it's basically where a town elects a dog as their mayor, and the mayor has 2 children that help out, and
So it's kind of like same vibe as Watchmen.
yeah, it's got that kind of real.
The deconstruction of the superhero genre.
Exactly, yeah. And if you watch the HBO Max series on Mayor Goodboy, like we know you've seen the movie, but and thought that they covered it all, they haven't even scratched the surface.
I just think it's unadaptable into.
It's the great Gatsby of superhero films.
But yeah, Mayor Goodboy is a lot of fun, and that's another one too. Just
All this time, I had no idea that it was a graphic novel series.
Right?
I thought it was a chapter book with illustrations.
Okay.
I mean, it is the exact same size as the like Wimpy Kid Diaries.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I could see you thinking that it was that.
Yeah, I guess I
Yeah, I think it fits great.
I'll buy it now.
I think it fits great into things if you're looking for your Dog Mans and your Captain Underpants and your Yogs, that kind of graphic novel hits that are at big box stores and stuff too. That Mayor Goodboy, good stuff. And then my last one, actually 2, because one is super brand new, so I'll save that for the end. But non-big 2, Faith Erin Hicks. Love her work. An artist and writer and artist, and has worked with other writers and such. But this is Hockey Girl Loves Drama Boy. There's a couple other ones. There's Pumpkinheads, I believe, was another recent one. But this one's from last year. And Faith Erin Hicks is one of those creators that I see her name on something, it's immediately in the cart, much like the Jeff Lemire that I mentioned. But this one very much centers around hockey. I'm waiting to see what Deep Red's concentration looks like when I mention hockey to a Canadian. All right, he's
I don't really care about hockey.
well. Then let's move on to the next one. No, but yeah, this is once again another slice of life thing, but just kind of seeing the drama of a relationship and the dynamics of people on hockey teams and social groups. You know, when you have your cliques and stuff, and but yeah, that if you're not into that stuff, but don't see enough hockey stuff in comic books, here's something about hockey. But once again, it's mostly advertising Faith Aaron Hicks because, yeah, when you're talking about non-Big Two creators, she is an instant buy whenever her name shows up in the catalog. And this completes with this next one here, super, super brand new as of this past week at the time we're recording. Let's go, Coco. This is by Coco Fox. Coco Fox, I discovered through Challengers Comics and conversation in Chicago because they hosted Coco Fox with her kind of like her comic strips and all of this stuff that she would do. I think mostly for the web and just like, you know, mini comics and things like this. This is her first book. This is her first graphic novel. This is an all ages book, and it's what she says is a sort of true story by Coco Fox. So there are elements of this that she plays into this story, but basically about two best friends where beginning of the story where they are separated because the other one friend is moving to another town, and this is Coco, our main character, is basically trying to figure out how she's going to go on her I think they're in grade school here. Their grade school life of without her best friend and looking to join the basketball team and hopefully make some new friends and stuff. But yeah, Coco Fox, she has a lot of her personality through her Instagram. She loves Weird Al, like she's went as Weird Al for Halloween, so that immediately caught my attention. Being a big Weird Al fan, she's part of a lot of like local like small theater productions, like, you know, like Rocky Horror type stuff, and just like kind of when you host shows in small theaters or bars where they like people come up and read poetry and just, you know, slideshows and just kind of a bunch of different art stuff. And she's a really cool person. Hopefully another one I'm going to reach out for Crimson Cowl and possibly this show as well. But this book is super, super brand new, so I was excited that I could bring that in for this topic here that Winston brought to us. So that concludes the big stack of comics that are mostly from the past 2 years, and then when I started with Giant Days, kind of highlighting something from modern times when it comes to non-Big Two comics. And in order for me to stop talking so I can take a breath, let's check in on some drawings. Winston, take a look at your share screen here.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Fantastic.
Colors.
Look at that. Oh,
I like it.
That's the effect, and then some yellow dust on all the panels. It'll make sense why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to remember that if when I eventually purchase this project, that if I see 5 fingers up anywhere, I'm going to see where that inspiration came from.
That'll be the secret shout out to you.
Yep.
I have to put that on now.
Cool.
So I have one suggestion for an independent book
please.
that I forgot. I don't think anybody brought it up, and I can't believe they didn't. Has anybody ever heard of Oni Press?
Okay,
Yep.
so that's literally the next thing I'm talking about. But what you talking about?
I got these
Okay.
6 books. They're called Scott Pilgrim. You might have heard of a movie that
Yeah.
got its title
That's
from the
another
It's
set.
like a Thanksgiving book.
Yeah, gets it together.
Yeah.
My favorite part of these books are like, where are they? I don't know if the first issue has it, but they have like, he makes like homages to like video game scenes.
I love
For
the
the-
beach one that has the Sonic logo.
Yeah, I think that one's printed in color, if I remember correctly, in my copies at least.
Oh
Why am I
yeah, I
flipping
only
through
have
6
numbers.
pages? Yeah, that one. There we go.
Love that.
So good. So good. And then like the pixel art and stuff that he puts on the background. Brian Lee O'Malley's a genius, man.
Okay, so what we're gonna do that was actually the perfect segue, because literally the thing I was going to bring up is Oni Press related. Winston Gambro, you may have what did I miss?
I just raised my eyebrows.
Okay.
He had the waggle.
Oh, he didn't just raise them. He like did tricks and all kinds of things.
So
A kickflip.
Flips, yep.
talking about non-big two, talking about Oni Press, talking about Winston Gambro. I'm holding here is this collection. Can you tell us about what I'm
Hey,
holding?
nice. I didn't know you had that. That's Jana and the Impossible Monsters Deluxe Edition. I'm a designer at Oni Press, so I design some of their books, and it is really, really cool. It's one of my first projects there was doing the deluxe version of Jana, and I'm such a huge Chris Somney fan. It was a dream. I might still have an email where he said he was very happy with it, and I might have kept it for whatever reason.
And on your
That's awesome.
website, this is the information you have to kind of let people know about your design work and everything. And so this was news to me. I think this is the one where I noticed it in your stories or something, but I had picked up issue 1 or like a free comic book day special a while back, and they're already a couple issues in by the time I got a hold of it. And I liked that first issue so much, and I love the Samneys that I just pre-ordered the collection. So I have yet to read beyond issue 1 because it's been on my pile here. But it was the perfect time to break the seal of it earlier today to bring it here to have you talk about that. So how do you go about doing that when it comes to getting the job to design this? Is this something where you've read everything, or you've read a couple? How do you approach to put this together?
For the most part, I talk to the editor and through them to the creator to kind of get what flavor they're going for. Are we going to talk about dwellings?
That's on the list too. Yep.
For instance, dwellings, it's drawn to look like old Harvey comics, and in the original run it was stylized to look like you could find it at a flea market. And so when Oni was reproducing it in like prestige format, I thought they were going to do that too, but we talked to Jay Stevens and he wanted it to instead feel like a masterwork. So like everything is luxury. It's like someone took the time to to Xerox or scan all these old comics and then make a masterwork and interview the creator of this lost classic. And so I did a lot of white space as well as super close zoom ins on the pixel or on the halftone art.
Oh, I see your name in here. Designed by Winston Gambro.
That's me.
So when
Yeah.
you do that kind of stuff, like, do you get to like get a hold of your editor and be like, "Hey, can you have so and so draw this for me for like the table of contents," or do you just get handed the artwork and
Unfortunately, yeah, I just get handed the artwork.
Okay.
Once in a while, the creator will want to draw something, but for the most part, they're busy drawing their next thing, and so I just use whatever's in the book.
Okay. It's fantastic looking.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I was like a huge fan of Dwellings before I got hired at Oni, and on my literal first day, we had a company-wide meeting where the CEO mentioned, "Oh, and we just got the rights to this book called Dwellings." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And basically we get to, if something comes in that we're interested in, we can request it, and everyone's like, "Yeah, give it to Winston." So I get alien stuff because I like aliens.
Oh, it's awesome. I
Yeah,
mean, plus you're just gonna do better work if you're into the thing that you're doing.
that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Dwellings is one of those too that I was picking it up. I forget how they put out the issues initially. I don't know if they just did it directly through.
I think Kickstarter.
Yeah, there was something that because that's how I discovered it. Just came into my feed or whatever. So then I started seeing the collection being, in previews, and then I saw you share it, and that's when I started seeing like, hey, I know Winston, and now that's part of that. And then all of a sudden, Jonna showed up, and yeah, so very very cool gig there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has been an absolute blessing. Like I'm so happy at Oni.
Cool, cool, cool. So I'm looking at the time here. We'll have roughly 20 minutes to go, but I'm going to go through the rest of the share screen because we're going to look at some of Winston's other work here. Um, so I went through his social media and I just kind of picked some stuff, and you'll kind of see a bunch of different styles.
Hey, it's Han Solo.
It's that, yeah, that Ket with the shirt, but
Oh, you drew him as a human.
yeah.
It's some kind of cowboy human.
Um, and you usually what I do during this segment, rather than commenting on what I'm going to be showing here, this would be a good time if you want to kind of let us in the audience know when art entered your life and just how long have you been doing it and what kind of led you to where we are now. So feel free to start talking, and I'll just kind of casually show these in the background.
So yeah, ever since I was a kid, I was always the kid drawing in class far too much. If I had any report cards that with negative comments, that it would be draws way too much. He needs to pay attention more. Uh,
What? That's terrible.
and then I always loved telling stories, just coming up with stories. A lot of them were rip-offs of manga I was reading in middle school, but luckily I never wrote those down. But I would just come up with these giant epics in my head. Then basically in high school, my art teacher introduced me to 100 Bullets, and I started kind of following creators that I liked, all just getting trades through the library, and then I I was all in from there. Started buying books of creators I liked, moving on to making my own. In college, I decided like, oh, I have all these ideas. I want to actually take time and do it. And so I sat my butt down and took the time a little bit every day and just started drawing and writing. And here we are.
Yeah, and I pulled this one specifically because this was a gift for somebody. Is that correct?
Yes, my dad is a huge Bewitched fan,
Awesome.
and so that was a birthday or a Christmas gift. I made him a poster of this.
Yeah, when I was going through, what caught my eye, I thought you were just sharing something that like Phil Noto drew, and like
Oh,
getting vibes
oh,
of that. And I stopped because I'm like, oh, what's he sharing? And I'm like, I didn't know Phil Noto did Bewitched, and I'm like, oh wait, this is Winston.
Well, if that isn't the best compliment I've gotten in months ever.
That yeah, much like when you asked me for, if I wanted a free drawing and I stopped and turned around, this drawing made me stop scrolling and go back being like, whoa, what did I just see there? So very cool. And if anybody else has any questions for Winston, we're almost at the end of this show and tell before we jump into the last little moment. And speaking of Sonic the Hedgehog, I had this one queued
Hell
up.
yeah. This was my recent Lights in the Sky Kickstarter. I had commissioned tiers, and I tweeted, will someone please commission me to draw Raz from Psychonauts or Shadow the Hedgehog? And one of the commissioners, their daughter, loves Shadow the Hedgehog. She's like, "Oh, I just got her birthday present. Please draw Shadow."
That's awesome.
Amazing.
All right, so that is it there. And let me make sure that was everything I had prepped on the share screen. We went through your design work. We went through your awesome your art sketches there from the Comic Cons, and I think you said that when you do online shop orders and stuff too. I think you throw in one there. I think you said.
I'll usually do drawing if I know your favorite superhero from social media, I'll do it. Otherwise, you're probably getting a Batman, but you get a free drawing either way.
And I know it's kind of rehashing some of the stuff that we've talked about on Crimson Cowl, but if you had to guess, maybe by keeping track even, but even if you didn't keep a list of what people ask for, what would you think is the most requested free drawing at conventions?
Oh, I do keep track, at least by the day, every time and by far I would say Spider-Man, and he is my least favorite to draw. I love Spider-Man,
It's
but
hard.
yeah, the amount of little lines on his face, especially when you're trying to knock something out, so
Mhm.
maybe you can talk to someone about buying something.
My
But yeah.
my great grandmother did a redesign of Spider-Man. That is a much simpler drawing to do, and she gave it to me for my birthday one year, and so this is from the 1970s.
We can hear the background noise now, though.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Now you're good.
Oh my God, it looks like the one from Madam Web.
So she had no idea what Spider-Man looked like, and that's from her imagination. That's what she thought.
Aw, that's so sweet.
So what
Yeah.
you're trying to tell us that Steve Ditko was not your grandma.
Steve Ditko was not my grandma. He was my babysitter.
Yeah, that's right.
He stole the design for Spider-Man from your grandma.
Just tweaked it a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea where you're going with that story when you mentioned it. And I looked at Winston too, and he was just like, "Wait, what's going on here?" I don't think anybody has ever said my grandma redesigned Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could probably. It's pretty safe to say that nobody has ever said that before.
No, probably not. That's probably the first time I ever said it too.
All right, so the last little thing here is to kind of, once again, plug your work and plug your social medias where people can find you, where people can, you have a Patreon and things like that. So if you feel through, I'm sure you've probably said this before, so I'll just let you go through your memorized routine here.
Yeah, WinstonGambro.com. That'll have a link to my shop. All social media, I'm at Winston Gambro. I have a Patreon if you're so inclined. It's $1, and you will be seeing all my new comic pages like this one. Yeah, that's the right page.
Ooh.
You'll be seeing this as it comes out with word balloons. You'll get it before anyone else. Patreon.com/Winston Gambro. $1. Thanks so much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And if people wanted to see you out on a convention circuit, do you have anything lined up at all? We just wrapped up Fan Expo, but
I have a very small brewery show. IndieCon, which is a convention in Chicago at a bar next month, I think.
okay,
Yeah, just look for me at C2E2. I'll be there.
there we go. And one thing that when I was introducing the Cartoonist by Night guys here about Winston Gambro, and there was one thing that Rodgers brought up that one thing that I really enjoy is how you promote yourself leading up to conventions. So I have 3 images here that we're all going to see Winston's take on the social media advertising for these comic conventions. So here's your promotion to meet.
I have no memory whose body that originally was. I always take it from the convention's website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got your the haunted house story, and then what's the other one from a zine there? The
That's Overflow. It's a cyberpunk graphic novel I've done.
and then okay, yeah. And but
Might
yeah,
have been Chris Claremont. Who can remember?
I'm gonna have to
Chris
like
Claremont. Ooh.
I'm gonna have to look closer at his. That he would wear a shirt like that. So
Yeah, he would. I can't tell because it doesn't have his face, so he's not gabbing nonstop. No offense, Mr. Claremont, but man, that dude likes to talk.
you get your money's worth, son.
He's the only creator, sorry to sidetrack. He's the only creator I know that somebody can ask him like the most direct question. And he will talk for like 11 minutes and never answer the question.
That's awesome. The next two are pretty great here. Meet your faves from the DC universe here. And Winston, who has no affiliation with the DC universe.
My lawyer recommended I put that in there.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
And then if you follow the asterisk to the bottom right corner, you got to give the fans a tease.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
you never know.
Cast the villain of the Batman too.
James Gunn's going to be, amping up as he just wrapped the principal photography on the Superman movie, and who knows? Who knows where?
We need a Blue Beetle to make a post credits or something.
And then this one, very hilarious. We'll end on this one here. The Star Wars icons. Of course, we have Mark Hamill from Star Wars. Of course, Hayden Christensen from Star Wars. We have Rosario Dawson from Ahsoka, which is a Star Wars project. Tamura Morrison, if that's how you pronounce his name, from the Book of Boba Fett. You got Giancarlo Esposito from The Mandalorian. And we have Winston Gambro, who has unfortunately seen all of the Star Wars movies.
That cracked me up.
All of them. There's 2.5 good ones.
So yeah, that was a little. That was exciting because Rodgers pointed that out really quick, and I'm like, "Yep."
That's a great idea.
I think that kind of describes Winston's personality altogether.
I have seen someone at a convention be like I knew him beforehand, but barely, and he's like, "Oh, Winston, how are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, we've only met for 10 minutes. I didn't think you'd recognize me." And he goes, "Are you kidding me? You post those stupid Photoshops every day."
I love it. Yeah, there's one thing that now I'm looking back, and maybe I was just inspired by you, but there was a small little banquet hall convention near me, and I had Google image searched them and just kind of wanted to look what the place was and everything, and they had a big marquee sign out on the front lawn and stuff. So I took that picture and then erased the words on it that was advertising, their chicken buffet or whatever was happening. And then I just put my information saying, we welcome artist Anthony Laatsch. And now that I look at this, I'm like, I bet you there was a hint of inspiration that came from your awesome.
I love that.
Work,
That's such a great idea.
And that was the same one too, because there's a big bull or steer or something on their building. So I drew myself on that. I'll have to share that later. But future Anthony could put that in.
Anthony, please.
Let's take a look at it now. Wow, look at that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You're so funny.
That's a human cowboy right there. Going back, callback. All right, so that is all I have. You boys have anything else for Winston?
No.
Oh, I got something for Winston.
3 minutes.
I got nothing for Winston. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough. That is going to do it then. So yeah, once again, thank you, Winston, for jumping on to Cartoonist by Night. I was excited to extend that invite to you last year, and we've had a lot of guests on our list as we rotate through, all of our members having suggestions and stuff. And but it was a good timing, re-meeting you again at Fan Expo and getting Lights in the Sky, talking about Haunted House, A Love Story, all of the zines, all of that stuff that is available. You can reach out to Winston and get a hold of that work. And, of course, the future projects that he was teasing right here on this show, things with upcoming Kickstarter campaigns, the Patreon, early sneak peeks if you just for $1 a month subscription. Lots of ways to follow Winston's art. So thanks for coming on the show.
This was amazing. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Winston. Cool stuff.
And how we always end an episode is very similar because we start to notice that, as a cartoonist by night, we're drawing throughout the night. It's getting a little bright outside. Normally it's the sun, but I'm starting to see some different lights in the sky, if you will. So I guess it's time for us all to go home.
Yeah, got it. Can't get the thing closed.
Godzilla, 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 and Godzuki.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was crossing my eyes.
In a world with so many stories, from movies to television, and of course, comic books, comes a story that's only available in one of the three mediums I listed earlier. What you are about to see in this trailer is a character debut like you've never seen before. And now, we are just buying dramatic time by repeating the same shots that you just got done watching. We are truly very sorry about that. And now, introducing Rice Christopher!